Hello everybody, my name is Mike the Man and I thank you for watching. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to continue with the interview from WSMV with Christopher and Katie Proudfoot. They're two people of interest whom I won't let go of. And one of the things that Chris Proudfoot cannot handle is that people cannot let go. So I left off with Katie looking at Chris and saying, I just, and she was seriously helpless and lost and stuck. And it's interesting to see the way that she looked at Chris when she said it. I mean, he is her emotional rock. To put it in a way that, yeah, my lack of relationship expertise, maybe I need to put it like that. He is somebody, he's the type, she needs somebody like him that always has an answer, that always can, take over, is always willing to take over. It's very revealing, and I said it before that Katie is way more intelligent than Chris Foot, and however, she's also probably got a ton of insecurities stemming back from her childhood. And there's a certain type of guy that she likes, somebody who's confident, somebody who's maybe a little brash, can be a little brash, but she kind of likes probably somebody who knows how to speak up, stand up, and take over when she cannot handle something, which may be quite often the case in her life. Who knows? But I think she is the type of woman that cannot really live without a guy, without a man in her life, which led her to make a very horrible choice. Her priority was no longer her son. Her priority was to keep the one guy, I guess, whom she is happy with. And that guy gave her the ultimatum. It's me or him. And that guy, after she looks at him, says, it's pure hell. I mean, so I did not want to write out everything that Christopher has to say, or thinks he has to say right now, but actually he's serious about that, what he describes and what he has previously answered to a question what every day is like, with obviously the journalist wanting to know what is it like not to know where your child is, that he talked about all the negativity from people. So basically the whole time Sebastian was in the house, Christopher was probably thinking, my life is not bad except this one guy that's in my house. That was probably, from everything I've gathered, from all of the different statements, that was the one thing that bothered Christopher Proudfoot and kept him from being as happy as he thought he deserved to be. And now that Sebastian is gone, guess what? Life is worse than ever for him. And what he's trying to explain to everybody and trying to cry out. And by the way, did he have gray hair on his beard before, a year ago? If you look at the video, they both have aged tremendously. And I think Katie has some kind of autoimmune issue maybe. The faces seem very red. I don't know what it is. In Katie's case, it's been in the other interview as well. Chris was not in there. I don't know, maybe it was very hot in the room. Maybe they were just nervous. I have no idea. But something's changed. And basically, I can tell you, I know people in my life that I grew up with who went from not considered good looking to gorgeous. And people who went the other way. And that was usually people who done a lot of things that were very ugly, and things can catch up with you in life. And I think when you look at these two people, you can see Because you know what? If your child is missing, you don't care if people are negative. It doesn't even register. Listen to what Seth said in his interview or his live stream. He doesn't even look what these people are doing to him. But you know what? That is nothing compared to the pain he's experiencing with his son. He'll probably deal with it later. There'll probably be some lawsuits. He'll probably not let this go once there is closure. Once it is obvious what happened and that Sebastian is beyond help. Of course, Seth is holding on to hope. And hope is all he's got to keep him going. And by the way, even though I'm an analyst, I have to tell you, if I was in Seth's situation, even if my analysis, my own analysis, even or somebody that I trust, another analyst, showed me, the obvious, I would still say, you know what? No, I believe it when I see it. I believe it when I hear it. I'm not going to accept it. Yes, of course. According to everything that I believe in, it looks like no, he's no longer with us, but it's normal for a parent to not believe it until there's 100% evidence. And many times, even evidence after evidence, no, the hope is not gone. But when they finally are confronted with the final, ultimate, undeniable evidence, then it's like a complete meltdown leading to a complete change of reality, where the acceptance will kick in some cases, and others are not able to handle it. And our system is designed, our body, our mind, our soul is designed to protect ourselves from what we can or cannot handle and give us time to adjust to a new reality. And by the way, that's okay, I didn't write it down, but the new reality, that's been the theme. What it's like living in Groundhog Day. Every day it's the same again and again. Yes, Christopher, yes, of course, we will not forget. You're not going to just move on as you wanted to. I know that day when you guys were seen eating at a restaurant, worryless, and then you eventually went down to that camper park in Mississippi, like nothing is going on, like nothing. I know you thought as soon as Sebastian is gone, or let's say it like this. Maybe you thought that the moment Sebastian is gone, everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be great. Finally, now we have time to do whatever we want without him being here. And now it's worse than it's ever been for you. Now you're aging rapidly. The energy is gone. I feel like I'm looking at two ghosts who are living on borrowed time. Let me continue. Or let me first answer a couple of your questions. So, in my last video, I have to smell him. Katie Proudfoot said, I want to smell him. And it looked like her face expressed a feeling of disgust. It was like, ew, something was really weird. So one of you guys said, well, she knows he's dead. And how does a dead person smell? Very good point. Very good point. Then, okay, this part, the question, what do I make out of she's not going to the vigil for him? Yeah, I didn't expect her to go there. I mean, I was actually 100% certain she wouldn't go. She's not going to be able to handle anything other than she feels she absolutely has to do. She is, believe it or not, in my opinion, highly intuitive and sensitive actually. But throughout her childhood, she turned into a sociopath, meaning cold as ice and able to completely shut off all senses of feelings towards something she wants to no longer have in her life. She's able to make a decision and put herself first without thinking about the consequences. And she still is a human being in this world. And the amount of negativity from too many people or suspicion, I think that would be very hard on her. I don't think she would be able to handle going to a group of people who are there to support her son, to pray for her son, to sing songs of praise and worship and hope and love and whatever, that I think is one thing that woman could not be able to handle. She would have a meltdown. I don't think she'd be able to deal with that at all. Chris, on the other hand, no, he wouldn't want to go there, but he would probably start debating people and start, that's more his style. Like, he's like, what, I'm ready. He's, like I say, he's the opposite. She's smart and confident, and he is, she is smart and insecure, and he is, and confident. So, another thing, okay, let's move on to this. Now, KP goes on. What is the message? That is the question. And look how many times she says want. I want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it becomes I would also like to. But want. I want to thank everybody who's searching, spreading flyers, spreading awareness, and ask everyone not to. That's what I would say, right? If that was my sentence. I wouldn't say I want to again and again. It's pretty strange. It's, of course, something she wants to be able to do. But want and doing, that's two different things. I want to encourage people really to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, to keep helping with what? And how about I want to encourage people to find my son? How about some goal in this one? I don't see any of the priorities other parents would have. Thank you, please help find my son. Period. His name is Sebastian, he's 15 years old, he's very thin, he's wearing glasses. Sometimes, I guess, unless he lost them, something like that is expected. That is expected. But not blah, 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 blah. And it's an endless cycle of the same things reheated. And the You see this? I want to thank everyone who's spreading flyers, spreading awareness. Now the speech comes in. This is very much rehearsed. I want to thank everybody, not to forget. And I want to encourage people to keep helping. And, okay, something's going to kick in now, the double word, to keep bringing awareness not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. Wow. Do you think this comes from her heart, from her experiential memory, from her own spontaneous subconscious or unconscious? That is a speech, people. That is something she heard somewhere. She saw somebody give a speech like that and realized it had a very nice impact. That's what a politician would talk about. Or a mayor of a city. Let's bring them home. A politician, right? Bring them home. That is the theme again and again. That's actually the last sentence here. Bring him home. And she says it again and again and again and again. And this rings has a good ring to a lot of people, because that's why people use it. That's why people who want to get in office use it because they want to tell people, I'm going to bring our soldiers home, I'm going to bring our boys home from overseas, from the war. When you mention certain phrases, it gives people a certain type of feeling, a very positive feeling, a feeling of hope. And people are likely to let go of something, or are very easily may abandon their own thoughts of suspicion when they hear something like this. So I need to also correct you guys, myself. I have to tell you guys that I don't know what percentage of people think that she had something to do with it and what percentage thinks absolutely not. I really don't know. Maybe it's 50-50, but I don't think so. I would say it's more like, I mean, I can't imagine really less than 80% saying, yeah, at least something, at least some connection is there. But let's see what I can also connect. Now the comes. And I would also like to say that if my son, you see, it's a new topic, it's a new script kicking in. It's a different script kicking in. When she says double words, and to keep bringing awareness not only to our son, that's when she doubles down, literally doubling down, where she encourages people to help. Nothing direct, to help. Thank you for your help. That's all you want, the help? What about the urgency to find your child? None of that. None of that. Just help. Remember before when she would say, no, never mind. I'll get to this later. And to keep bringing awareness not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. Suddenly she's trying to become like a spokesperson. And she wants to elevate herself to this type of level. What a selfless woman. Really? How many times have you seen innocent parents of a missing child on TV talk about other children? How many times? If there is one moment when you have a right to be selfish, one area, it is your children, and it's expected. It is expected for you to be selfish. You're not going to think about any other children. It will be impossible to think about unless it's your child and her friends who went missing on a trip or something. Of course, then it's a part of it, but the urgency has to be right there. As long as my child is not found. The same when in the previous interview, when Chris Proudfoot, talked about Lakin's Riley Strain. You know, I'm sorry, but your child is missing. What is the disconnect? Your child is the same like all the other children. And remember what she also said later. She talked, they all deserve to go home, as much attention, if not more, something like that, if not more. If this is not an attempt to get people to stop asking questions about Sebastian Rogers, then what is? It says exactly what her level of priority is. She thinks that the other children are more important because they're still alive and they're still out there. She's telling everybody, this is not worth it. You're not going to find him. You're not going to find anything. Sorry to say. She's embedding her admissions over and over and again. And I've said it before. This is like, I've never seen as many red flags in a case where no arrest has yet been made. Never. I'm baffled that there's absolutely nothing. And like I said, don't hold your thoughts. Don't hold your breath, people, because I mean, this got more red flags than a Chinese military parade. Seriously. And the police, what are they doing? Believe me, police, they messed up in the beginning. Treated it like a runaway case. No luminal, no real investigation. All of a sudden, they have to go back to trying to figure out anything. Because if they go on the stand, the defense team will tear them apart. Why did you think it was a runaway case? What made you change your mind? Oh, really? Remember the OJ trial when Dennis Fung was on the stand? This is going to be an embarrassment for the police. And the one thing that the police officers hate more than anything, having to go on the stand and being torn apart by a defense lawyer. Torn apart by the defense lawyer with a guilty client who will ruthlessly come after them, their incompetence, all of that. I don't see sense of urgency at all with the law enforcement. I see zero sense of urgency. And they say we have no evidence. So some of you think, okay, they're slick, they don't want to tell you, but they actually, they're very close. Really? After 1 year, they're suddenly really, really close? I don't see it. And you know what? Chris has expressed some worries about what tomorrow's answers may bring. But tomorrow may mean a year or two for him. So I wouldn't hold my breath at all. Now it's another M. So now there is a switch in topics. That was already a speech she gave, you see? Let me go this way. Speech, different speech. And this, doubling down, upgrading. She's like, and, wait, now comes the good part, the crescendo of the speech. Missing because they all deserve to go home. So she's thinking, wow, bam, I got this one in. Great speech. Now speech number 2. And I would like to say that if my son could hear it, I mean, now I'm thinking, sometimes I'm thinking, did I really hear this correctly? Did she say could hear it? If I'm wrong, I take it back, but I'm gonna say it now, thinking I heard it correctly. She doesn't say can hear it. If my son can hear it. And a lot of parents of missing children, if they had nothing to do with it, they would just say, I want to tell my son. They don't say if he can hear me. They would just say, son, if you're out there, please come home, please beg them to let you go. Tell your abductor I will give him all my money. Tell him to get in touch with me. Ask him what he wants. What would he, for how much money, for what would he let you go? After such a long time, these negotiations would come in. Something like that. Like Seth told the potential abductor. Or he didn't call him an abductor. He was very much more diplomatic. He didn't want to upset whoever has him. So he didn't say, I want to tell the abductor. He said, I want to tell whoever may have my son. Right? So he that's a good move. If in fact he was abducted or was with somebody, which, you know, as I said, I'm certain that's not the case. But if it would be a smart move to say whoever has my son and not be accusatory and not to call the person an abductor, because then the guy would say, yeah, I'm the abductor. If he calls me an abductor, that means that, you know, this person I kidnapped would recognize me, and there's gonna be a serious manhunt, and they're gonna get me and make me pay. So that could actually cause an abductor to, you know, definitely not take such a chance. So he's doing it very well, that he's saying, you know, if you have my son, he's not alleging anything. He's not saying voluntary or involuntary, that Sebastian maybe, you know, he's playing dumb a little bit, if you will, like saying, okay, if my son, if you are the person helping my son, whatever, you know what I'm saying. So anyways, now comes a different subject, and I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, he can't. If he could, if you can hear me, that's positive. If you can hear me, I think you can. There's a good chance you can. So hear my words. My son, if he could, if only my grandpa could have seen, you know, could have lived long enough to see my videos. Let's use this example. If only he could hear me now. If only he could. That would be the reasonable part. And again, what we are assuming, whenever we analyze, we are assuming they're telling us the truth. And we highlight where they talk us out of it. If my son could hear it, not hear me, but hear it. You know why she says hear it? Because here comes the speech. And that speech has been in the back of her mind for a very long time. Not hear me. If my son can hear me, what is it? How about this? No, there's a little bit of distancing going on. Because what she's about to give you is a script. It is not something she fears. It's not something she wants to say. She says all the time, I want to, because she doesn't want to. But she has to, I want to. She's telling everybody, okay, yes, I understand that there are certain terms and certain ways of speaking that are common, but what we pick in a certain important moment where urgency is warranted is very important. People think because of political speeches that, hey, this is the normal way to speak. No, it doesn't have to be the normal speak. What is normal? I want to know what is normal. What's important is what is normal in this case, in this particular case. What is normal? That's what's important. Not what's normal in another speech that you may have heard. What is normal for the mother of a missing child?